What is up, guys? Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and today we're going to be getting all these small imperfections figured out on the rear-wheel drive K-Swap Subaru Impreza. So now that she is finally dyno tuned, I can drive it on the road, and a lot of small issues came to my attention, most notably the engine drivetrain vibration and the shifter clutch feel. In order to fix that, I am unfortunately going to have to pull the engine and transmission back out. When I initially made my custom motor mounts, I had the stock oil pan on when I was waiting on my front sup to come in. And as you can see, the aluminum oil pan is quite a bit thicker than the OEM one. So once I drop the engine down, it actually rests directly on the subframe. And that makes the entire car vibrate like crazy and makes it for an unpleasant ride experience. The next thing is the shifter itself. You can see when I go in reverse, it is very far over. And when I pull it back, we still got some extra space. This is fifth gear all the way to the right, and you can see it is centered up almost a little bit to the left. So I'm going to remake my shifter assembly. That way it's more centered. So I ordered a bunch of parts from FCP Euro to completely redo the whole shifter and clutch engagement assembly. I got a new shifter fork, new pivot ball, new shifter assembly stuff, everything to help with that transmission thing. This transmission was also sitting in a shop for several years from a BMW enthusiast, and it pops out of second gear, which I don't like. Luckily, last year I picked this thing up out of a 2006 330i. This is also a 6-speed. I saw it there, so I went ahead and snagged it. So I'm going to be throwing this transmission in instead. But on a good note, I did fix a couple of these small issues that I found before. One of them was so retarded, and I am pissed off that it took me so long to figure it out. So my brakes were extremely stiff, and my brake booster line has a check valve in it, and this whole time I've had it flipped around to where it was not sucking any vacuum from the brake booster to give me power brakes. And I knew about this check valve, but my ADHD kept making me forget to flip it around. So this whole time I haven't had stiff brakes was because this line was backward. At the end of my dyno tune video, I tried to do a burnout, and I could not push the brakes down hard enough to lock the front wheels up so the rear wheels can spin. But now I can do a burnout super easily, especially with my adjustable proportioning valve. And just like that, it's probably been about 25-30 minutes or so. I got everything disconnected. I just got to do the transmission mount and the engine mounts, and she can come out. But to address the first thing, which is the subframe hitting, there's multiple things I can do. Cutting this bar and extending it, taking these mounts off and raising them. I even thought about drilling the hole higher and then welding it a plate on there to where it can't sit down far enough. Or I can just grind this completely down and cover it, because I'm sure I will expose the inside of this. So that shouldn't be too bad to just cut it all out. And it's weight reduction too, am I right? I'm not adding more material to raise the engine, I'm removing material, lower the engine. Alright, so with the flapper wheel, I pretty much got these ground down as far as they could go. It is down to this bottom plate. Alright, I just got my FCP Euro package with all my transmission linkage stuff right when I finished my subframe. We got D6 ATF for the new transmission. I had D4 in there before, so I'm gonna try D6. These are the new clips that hold the shifter in. I only had one out of the two. This is a bushing for the back of a shifter. I wrapped it in electrical tape before, so now I have a real bushing, but I'm going to make a U-mount hold it down and not the actual one. This is the metal shift fork ball pivot thing that's inside the transmission. It's metal. The old one's plastic, so it won't wear down. This is the new shifter bushing thing that's actually in where the ball goes where you shift it. Brand new shift fork itself. And then if you see this little plastic pivot ball, I have this metal one to replace it so this doesn't wear down at all like the plastic ones do. So this little hole right here you can barely see is the back side of it, so we just hammer that and shoot out. I thought about taking my clutch off as well to see the clutch material, but if we go to the side, you can see we still have plenty of material left. There we go, that little plate next to it, and then the flywheel looks fantastic as well, so we all Gucci there. Now the last step before we can throw her on with all the new parts is cutting a little slit in this area. Alright, so I got the hole cut out a lot better this time. Still not perfect, but there is a massive hole here, and they don't make a cover for this or anything, so it's not that big of a deal. So I've been messing with the shifter a little bit, and I think I kind of figured out what the issue is. This is 6th. You can see I don't have anything bolted down, but this is in 6th gear right now, and you can see it's almost straight. If we take this out, you can see it's not perfectly lined up at all, so I think these are supposed to be straight. That looks a lot straighter to me, boy. Use the flapper wheel a little bit, now you can barely notice. So now I got everything finished up on the shifter. I used that same little U bracket thing to hold this down, and now she's sturdy. I put my sound deadening back on to cover this hole, and now I can slide this all the way down. Look at how normal it looks. So I finally got my starter in since I broke the post off, got it installed and everything. So now I can finally put everything back together. It's a pain in the ass to replace it with the intake manifold on. So I went ahead and waited for it to come in, and Lena got AC stuff, got a new condenser and a few other things because her AC went out in this hot Texas sun. So now all our cars are going to be 100% perfect, and if you notice in the background I am missing a car, and that is because I just sold my RSX. Didn't make a whole lot of profit, but still made profit. But hopefully in this video you're gonna see me with a new daily. But let me put this thing back together real quick. And just like that, she's all put back together. Coolant topped off, oil hasn't been messed with, so it should be good still. So I guess let's go ahead and do the first start and see if I fucked anything up. Interrupt the K-Swap Impreza to bring you my new daily, not really daily, I'll probably still daily the Baja, but my new tow rig. I just picked up a 2002 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD crew cab and long bed. It has the Vortec 8100 whatever series 8.1 liter engine with the Allison transmission. She's a little clapped, but she has the towing capacity that I need to tow all my cars around reliably with horrible MPG. And if we go to the inside, it has the dark gray interior, which is something I really wanted, with the leather seats that have been worn in so nicely that it feels like a couch in here. It only has 183,000 miles too, so she should be pretty reliable. So now hopefully I'll be making some videos towing my cars to the track and dyno and whatever like that with this rig. But if we go back to the K-Swap Subaru Impreza, I ran into a small issue which hopefully I can fix somewhat easily. If I started it in gear, it would still move forward even though my foot was fully depressed, so I think I need to bleed my slave cylinder some more. Ooh, well, that took me a few days to figure out, but I finally got my clutch to work properly. I spent hours trying to bleed this. I would get no air out of the lines after a while, so I kept backing out the adjustment rod on the master cylinder where it hooks up to the clutch pedal, and it got a little bit better. And then I was like, well, I'm all out of thread. What am I gonna do? So I came up with an idea, and it doesn't look the best, but it is completely hidden and it makes my car functional. So there is my clutch master cylinder right where it hooks up to the pedal right here. And if you see that ugly mess, I took 4 nuts that were the same thread pitch as the rod and welded them to this part. So I essentially lengthened this part so that way the rod was getting fully pushed in when I'd press the clutch. I did this off camera. I did make a TikTok about it if you want to see the full video there, but I went ahead and took apart my oil filter. I got the oil filter cutter, that way you don't add any more contaminants, and this is what it was looking like. The gold is going to be from the engine bay paint, and I did expect to see quite a bit of metal shavings just from everything wearing in, since this is the first oil change this engine has ever had since it was fully rebuilt. So there's nothing too concerning. They're all really small chunks, nothing huge. So I expect to see shavings in my oil, maybe another 1 or 2 oil changes. Very special moment happening right now. I just got a few packages in the mail to finally complete the front end of the Impreza. I just got fenders and headlights, but that is the bare minimum. Bumper and hood doesn't really matter yet. But as you can see, the driver's side fender looks flawless. And if we come over to the passenger side, it came in extremely dented and damaged. The new headlights I got, these are just cheap eBay ones, but they have a black housing instead of a chrome housing, as well as amber corner lights. So now I'll be able to drive the Subaru at nighttime, and that was the biggest issue I was having, is because I would have to stop working on it, stop test driving it, everything like that as soon as it got a little bit dark. But now this is a game changer to have a front end again. And here is one side all finished, bolted together. So now I got the Impreza front end swap Subaru Baja having a staring contest with the K-Swap Subaru Impreza. So hell yeah. So now the next thing to fix is a horrible drivetrain vibration. I need to figure out if my custom drive shaft was not balanced correctly, if my wheels are unbalanced, if I have something else going on. Alright, well, my new fender came in. I put new headlights on my truck. See, the old dented one and the new one luckily came in not dented. So I'm going to swap this out real quick. And there we go, that's way better. We can actually see my fitment even more, boy. I got no room at all. Jesus, gotta roll these motherfuckers. All right, so I got the Subaru up on jack stands, and let's go underneath and see the drive shaft. So everything's looking fine and dandy. And then we get over here and we can see there are some rub marks. All right, so drive shaft is pulled out. And if we go under here, you will see some areas painted pink, and that's where it was rubbing. Right there, there's a mark. Right there, there's a mark. Right there. This was a mark, but you see the paint's here. So right there, it's barely rubbing right off of the differential. All right, so I just got my drive shaft back from the drive shaft shop, and they put it back in balance. They did say that these little scuff marks could put it out of whack, so I have to try to not do that again. But I went ahead and started a side quest after I took that to them, and you can see it on the bench right here. So I rear wheel drive swapped my Subaru, right? And the whole point of that was so I can drift. And I bought the R200 out of an S14 that has a viscous LSD. But the first time I tried to do a burnout, and ever since, it was only spinning one wheel. And after doing some researching, they said that these viscous LSDs suck and that you should buy an aftermarket spool to throw in them or just weld them. An aftermarket spool is a little over $1,000. I've never messed with the diff before, and I have a spare R200 with the same exact everything. If this one messes up that isn't catastrophic and destroys the case or anything, then I should be able to swap spools, ring, pinions, everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to weld the R200 that was in the back of my Subaru. I went ahead and already brake cleaned everything out, so we should be all ready to go. There may still be a little bit left over. And if you look right here, we got the 4712 gearing, which means this is a 3.92 gear ratio. So just got done cleaning her up, and you can see we got all these chunks in here that are now not going to be in here when the diff is spin. So the diff is now fully mounted, as well as the axles with the 15mm spacers. And then I did a bunch more hammering. I found my sledgehammer finally. I was able to hammer it out. I did have to cut some slits, that way the metal could go up more, because I really don't want to remake this entire thing. And just like that, everything is bolted back in place. I went ahead and put lock washers on these bolts that go to the transmission, because these loosened up once before and then they were not snug when I went to take this out. We have quite a bit more clearance on everything, so hopefully we have no more scratches on the goddamn drive shaft. All right, she is finally back on the ground, so I guess let's take it on its maiden voyage. We got the welded diff, freshly clearanced and balanced drive shaft, everything else on, done, finished. Hopefully there is no fucking vibration. All right, let's hope this test drive goes well. It appears my brand new starter is taking a shit on me.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the...
I'm just scared to stall it because I don't know if it'll start again.
It was at this moment he knew he fucked up.
Oh my fucking... I literally did not do that on purpose. Fucker, what am I supposed to fucking do now? It's only 92 degrees, 91 degrees outside, and I'm stuck in the middle of a fucking, at least I'm not on the highway. Fuck. Trying to push a car with a welded diff is even more difficult too, but at least I'm off the road. I just hope the starter doing whatever it's doing is not grinding up my flywheel. Oh my God, I just tried it again and it literally started like nothing ever happened. So Jesus Christ. All right, well, we made it home and there's one last thing to do to test out the diff. What's going on with you? So the starter teeth look fine. They're supposed to have these little things on them. Flywheel teeth look fine as well. So as I'm waiting for Rock Auto to ship me my new starter, it is way cheaper on Rock Auto, but going through the warranty return process takes a while, so that's kind of the pros and cons of using it. My amazing girlfriend right here just got me something else. I already took it out of the box and everything, but if you see this brand, it came from the wonderful land of Borat in Kazakhstan. So this is the top mount roof wing that I had. This is actually off a GG Impreza, not a GF Impreza. I just kind of made it work, but I can finally replace this with one meant for my car. And this is a Tommy Kaira replica top wing, and this thing's gonna look so hot with my STI mid-wing and OEM STI mid-wing. I have it set up exactly where it's gonna mount. Unfortunately, the only way to mount this is with windshield sealant, so that polyurethane whatever, so that's gonna be a little sketchy. It's cool because it doesn't even block any of the view, and then this middle piece is adjustable, so I'm going to adjust it to where this points up a little bit. And then we do have some overhang on the wing right there. I love the way that looks also. So Rock Auto just sent me my replacement starter, so I'm going to throw this one in and hope it fixes my issue and then return that one under warranty. Now she's all back together and it's the moment of truth. Is it gonna keep messing up or was it just the starter? And something else that just happened, I just went out of town to San Antonio, Texas from Houston, Texas in my Silverado for my girlfriend and I's 8-year anniversary, and I was able to pick up a non-vented facelift Impreza hood. That way I can cut it up with no vents to worry about for the K-swap. Let's hope this test drive goes a little bit better. Well, I just got back from Mexico and I got this thing up to 120 miles an hour and there were no major vibrations like there were before. You know, you're gonna have a little bit of vibrations, but this thing feels so unstable. I know I need to get everything dialed in suspension wise. It feels like every corner's rocking its own way. The steering wheel doesn't feel very tight at speeds. I don't have a rear sway bar in right now or anything like that. So I'm gonna need to figure out how to do all that later on. But other than that, guys, I know this video is gonna be kind of long and hectic, but that's just part of working on a project car at a normal man's pace. I fund all these myself. I don't have any outside help with anything. So follow my Instagram, TikTok, everything under that username right there. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and motherfucking peace.